Alright, it's time to talk about SLS kites. Unless you live under a rock and you don't have a single kite buddy, I'm sure you heard about SLS kites. Because if you have more than 2 kite buddies, one of them already has an SLS kite and he already tried to convert you. It's kind of like a sect. I'm going to do my best to explain you what is an SLS kite and whether you want one or you just being told that you want one. Who is it for and what is the benefits? I will sum it up for you in this video. In 2021, Duotone created this category and named it SLS. SLS stands for short, light, span. No, it's actually not. It's for strong, light, and superior. Ever since many other brands came up with a similar category whereby they made the kite lighter, just for the sake of easiness, we're going to call all these kites SLS kites. The Decon, so that's the frame of the kite. The main part of the kite covers the leading edge. There is like a wider patch on the wingtips and also a thin layer across the trailing edge and the struts as well. The strongest, the most durable, and also the heaviest part. But they changed this Decon to a different type of Decon, which is much lighter. And they claim it's stronger as well. I'm holding 2 types of materials, and this is the older Decon, which feels much more hard and heavy as well. This is almost lighter than this piece, and yet it's much bigger. This is the Decon. This actually blocks the sun, so it's quite thick. And you see it's the SLS though. You can see the sun can slightly shine through it, so it's a thinner material. The weight and surface ratio will determine a lot about the flying of a kite. If the weight is reduced significantly, the wing will be more nimble since it doesn't have to carry too much of its own weight. Another very important thing that the lighter kite does to your kite flying, besides making it faster turning, is that it reduces the stall speed, which is fantastic. It's really good for kiting. Here you can see a footage of me being in Brazil in around 14 to 17 knots, flying this kite, a 7-meter, bar fully in, close to the ground in unideal wind conditions because there was a lot of turbulence and the kite was not even remotely trying to stall. It might drifted a little bit back, but because the weight was so light, it didn't fall deep and deeper into the wind window. It just adjusted its space, found its new edge of the wind window, and just sit there. It's also fantastic when you're driving downwind, when your kite has less wind for any reasons, and also in the catching of the kite loops. This is a really crucial thing. And the lower the stall speed, I believe, the better the kite is. The material is essentially stronger because you can pump it up and it's a really rigid like mesh and net. They can achieve thinner leading edge diameter and still have a very rigid frame on the kite. This is really good because the thinner the leading edge, the less drag it creates in the air as moving forward. The faster the kite recovers, the faster the kite moves, the faster it turns. When it comes to more difficult tricks like kite loops, boogie loops, when you're upside down and you loop the kite, all the feedback is what you have is on the bar. And if you're upside down and for some reason the kite stalling to catch you, you will feel no tension building up on your line. Feedback is subsiding until it's gone and you'll fall. While a low stalling speed kite will still move forward, still want to catch you, and therefore since there is forward momentum in the kite, you will feel tension on the back line, so you will have a sense where is the kite just from this feedback. In a sense, yes, what are the downsides of this strength? If you're on a rough beach and you pick up the kite not a nice way, you can easily damage the kite. And what is an advantage while the kite is flying up in the air becomes a disadvantage once you're smashing that kite on the beach or in trees or anything sharp that can damage the kite. I believe that Decon is much more resistant against such things. Some of our friends arrived to Brazil, we were all there together. The first day, they happened to damage their SLS kite. The kite was brand new, so everybody was really sad. I told them no stress, in the town there's a guy who fixing kites. Next day, they go there, and the guy was puzzled by the material and he was afraid because it's an expensive kite and he never fixed anything like this before. So he refused to fix the kite, and therefore they had to rent for the rest of the holiday. I don't think this is going to carry on like this in the future, so more and more fixing shops will fix SLS kites, but yeah, it's still a thing. In the same Brazil, since all of us had some sort of interesting kites into the lot, we decided to do a little test. It made me learn a lot about what I think is right for someone, while perhaps that person thinks differently. We tested the duotone Rebel SLS, the duotone Evo SLS, the Ventum Explore SLS, the Orbit, the North Orbit, the Ozone Edge, the Ventum Mute, and well, we had a little cream, a D-Lab Evo.
If I can sell myself as kite, I would.
During this test, I thought like, whew, the Orbit is a really good kite, it's gonna stand out. Yet some of us said, which kept me thinking that, okay, it's maybe I think the Orbit is a quick kite, and it is a quick kite, but maybe this quickness doesn't translate as a good quickness for everyone. I love the SLS idea, it's fantastic, it gives you this 20, even sometimes feels like 30% of advantage comparing to a normal kite in terms of speed. I would not recommend for everyone. So you will just damage the kite very early on. Bad crash on the beach, or dragging it on the beach, or packing it not well. You will benefit much more from a kite that can treat beating. But if you know what you're doing, you can take good care of the kite. The SLS has an immense value.